Welcome back. The G20 Summit that took place over the weekend in India has welcomed African Union as a permanent member. The African Union became the second regional grouping after the European Union to be admitted to the group of 20 leading industrialized and developing nations. To give us an analysis on what this means to the African continent, I'm now joined by Dr. Ndumba Kamwanya, who is a political analyst. Doctor, good evening and thank you for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Doctor, to begin with, what does this mean for the African continent, and what does it, stand to gain from the G20 membership?
It is important to know that AU represents almost about 55 member countries. So the admission as a permanent member of the G20 is really crucial for the continent. That means that the continent is becoming a bigger player on the global level. And we must also know that the continent has been used as a pawn between superpowers while the continent was outside, but now they are becoming insiders in terms of playing crucial role at a global level. So it is a powerful acknowledgement for the continent in terms of its voice at the global level.
And do you think this membership in any way will push, Africa's agenda of multilateralism, on global platforms?
Yes, the platforms give the continent a voice to advocate for reform. And remember, one of the issues that Africa has been crying is the reform of financial international financial system that are biased against the continent. So now that the continent has a platform or is part of the group, that it really give it an advantage so that it can advocate for reform in terms of financial institutions, the World Bank, IMF, and to make sure that the continent gain advantage in terms of the loans that that the continent can borrow, because you know that it is against it's biased against the continent that we end up paying a lot of interest. So I think now being part and parcel of the group, if the continent is able to advocate and negotiate for favorable loans and payments.
Doctor, how do you see the balance of power playing out in the G20 grouping, which China and Russia, are also members of?
Well, the admission of the continent, it's bringing also that voice of the South, in terms of the North and the South. So now that Africa is joining, China and Russia. So it's quite a very powerful balance in terms of, the Western country or the West superpower countries, but also in terms of China, Russia, and the African continent in one block. So it is really going to be a sort of a check and balance instead of what we have seen, mostly the Western superpower or powerful countries dominating the decisions at the international level. So it's going to serve a check and balance to some extent.
Dr. Kwanya, your final thoughts this evening?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes, I can hear you now. Well, it's up to the continent how they are going to use that platform. We know that there are many different levels in terms of our economies and in terms of our democracies. So it's up to AU that how they are going to represent the continent, that it will not be used by powerful country within the bloc, so that it can serve the interests of other people. So I hope that it will be a genuine representation for the African continent, instead of either being used by China, Russia, or the Western countries. So that they need to play that game, that they stick to the aspirations and hopes of the continent, not to be used by other countries within the blocs.
Dr. Nduma Kamwanya, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Let's take a brief break. When we come back, our conversations here on the Daily